Pumpkin Talkari is one of my favorite sides to have when I'm having sada for breakfast. Usually my go-to combo is pumpkin and bhaji. And today I'm doing my pumpkin Talkari. I don't use no set of ingredients, it's simple ingredients, but as you know, I just choose the right ingredients for the best outcome. Of course, it's pumpkin Talkari, so we must have the tractor grease up in there. If you're just going to the market, you go ahead and refer to pumpkin sometimes as tractor grease or natural golden ray. Of course, it's because of the color. Copious amounts of garlic, must have garlic inside there. I like a little heat in my pumpkin Talkari, so I was going with a little bit of Scotch bonnet pepper. I have some curry leaves or carapule. I mean, this is optional. If you can't find it, you can leave it out. It's totally fine. For the spices, I like to have coriander seeds up in there as well as some jeera. So yeah, simple ingredients, simple recipe that we get into it one time. So to prep, I'm gonna break down the pumpkin into cubes. Now I don't like to do the cubes too small because I like when I'm cooking on the pumpkin, there's not a lot of frying happening to too much of it. So how to explain it? I want a large surface area, a large enough surface area for it to fry, but also I want enough meat in the middle so that it kind of cooks down and breaks down using the steam. So if I cut, like for me, this size is a perfect size for cutting the pumpkin. You cut smaller than this, and what will happen is when you're cooking it, it'll have, for me, too much sauteing happening where it's basically sauteing the entire pumpkin. I don't want to do that. I want to saute some of the surface area, but for the rest of it, I want the steam to cook it and break it down. And if when you cook it that way, you don't have to worry about mashing it too much. Basically, if you cook it right and if you have, a nice pumpkin like this pumpkin, it'll basically cook down for itself. You'll do like minimal mashing at the end. So, stick with me and I'll show you. I realized that I put the pumpkin up to the camera and I said this size, but didn't say what the actual size was. So there's about a 2-inch piece of pumpkin, about 2 inches in size. Like if you could measure the size through the camera. Nah, I'd actually tell you. Yeah, so about 2-inch pieces, 2-inch cubes, that's what we're going for. I like a lot of garlic in my pumpkin Talkari. So here I'm using 8 cloves and I'm not bothering to mince them. I'm just leaving them whole. I'm just gonna give them a smash. I'm leaving them whole, yes, but just giving them a little smash. Just to get some of those garlic juices go in. See that? Through some of the garlic. Yeah. Just give them a little smash and they'll do well and release more flavor into the pot. For pepper, just gonna cut a little piece. Give that a little mince. And of course, if you don't want any spiciness, any heat in your pumpkin Talkari, you can leave this out. Now we're gonna put my coriander seeds and whole jeera into the mortar and pestle. And look what went on with mortar and pestle. Pestle fall and break. So using that kind of halfway thing here, but it's still working, so watch no face. Grind that. And we don't need to grind this into a fine powder. We just wanna grind it enough to break the coriander seeds and bruise the whole jeera so that they would release more flavor into the dish. So I have my pot on medium flame. I'm gonna go in with the spices. Just gonna let these toast a bit to release more of their aromatic flavor. Now we're going in with some coconut oil, garlic, I mean, if you could smell this already, this combination alone, real fragrant. Now we're going in with the Scotch bonnet pepper, carapule or the curry leaves, add in our pumpkin, at this point I want to season with salt. And if you looked at my cooking basics video, you would know that adding salt at this point is important because the salt will help extract the liquid content from the pumpkin. And in turn, when we cover the pot, you'll have the water extraction coming out of the pumpkin, helping to form steam in the pot. So it's almost like the pumpkin, not almost like the pumpkin is cooking in its own juices. So adding the salt at this point really helps with that. So we're keeping it on a medium-low flame. I'm gonna cover this and allow it to do its thing. Just leave it and we'll check back in it in about 15 to 20 minutes. 30 minutes later, this is what we're looking like. I checked it at the 20-minute mark and decided to let it go for another additional 10 minutes. So this is what we're looking like after 30 minutes of cooking. And as you can see, what I mentioned earlier about the size of the pumpkin and not cutting it too small so that it has ended up with sauteed pieces of pumpkin. If you look here, you would see how that's breaking up in the middle there. That's what I wanted. You're getting some caramelization happening on the surface of the pumpkins. In the middle, you have pieces like this here that steamed. So you have the steam cooking it partly, and then the caramelization happening on the surface of the pumpkin. So you have a mixture of flavors and textures going on there. And as you can see, because we had a good product to work with, we used the salt to extract the liquid from the pumpkin. It's just breaking down here. You don't need any special tools. I'm just using the back of this spoon here and I'm just mashing the pumpkin down. That is what we're looking for. I just want to mash all the ingredients together and then continue to combine them. At this point, I want to taste for salt. Going in here with a touch, and that is it. We're good to go here. So yeah, simple and easy pumpkin Talkari, and this is the way I like to prepare mine. I know everybody does make their own a different way, but this is just the way that I like to make mine. If you have a different way, some other things you like to add to yours, you can let me know in the comments. But I feel like, this combination of spices and the aromatics works for me. The coriander seeds and the jeera add a nice little warmth to it. The Scotch bonnet pepper, give it a little spiciness, but not too much. The garlic, of course, can never have too much garlic, so we went in with 8 cloves of garlic in there, and then the carapule leaves, adding a nice little kind of earthiness. Yeah, this for me is the perfect pumpkin Talkari. This is how I like to enjoy mine. So, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and give it a share. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to do so, and I will post a link to the full recipe in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Mm-hmm.